back, ladies and gentlemen, to your 11th annual IESF World Championships here for Tekken 7. We're back on day 2. I'm Alchemist, joined again by my co-commentator Brown Man.
Yep.
We're back for more Tekken 7 action. We're up to day 2. We're finishing off the group stages first off, and then we'll be moving on to the group stages. So, first of all, yesterday we went through many of the matches for the group stages. We saw pretty much every country on stream representing you know, their style of play. Out of all the countries, who do you think shined the most?
I want to say probably Saudi Arabia. They did
Saudi
pretty
Arabia?
well. But of course we also had Ni and Dojin, so they shine pretty bright. But they're kind of just like the regulars. Seeing the Sam brother have some interesting play with his bob was very interesting. But yeah, it was. I think that was my favorite one. Yeah.
I think the highlight last night was the last match when
Oh
Nee
my
picked
god.
Leroy,
Yeah.
and I saw things that I had never seen before with the character. Obviously, because the character's new,
Hmm.
but there's many things I wasn't, I hadn't seen, so it was just fresh.
Hmm.
Obviously, we'll have a lot more matches, and Nee will still be on stream later today.
Yep.
Obviously, one of the fan favorites. The first match we have today is actually Costa Rica versus Poland, and that should be coming up very soon. We saw both players on stream yesterday. Frizzin representing Poland playing that strong Steve, and we have Vicious CRC from Costa Rica, and I believe he played Lars and Miguel.
Yes. If yeah, I think Costa Rica did play Lars and Miguel. Um, we had a lot of Miguel and a lot of Lars yesterday. That's
Very
just a big
interesting to
boy,
see,
yeah.
yeah.
But I'm interested to see how he does on day 2. I'm not. Well, obviously, we didn't see the matches that happened off stream,
Mm.
but there could have been a lot of things that happened that were unexpected. Because when you're on stream, sometimes you get nervous. We spoke to some of the players yesterday, and they said they did get a bit nervous on stream. So they could have done really well in pools, but we just didn't see.
So these matches will still be first to two as long as we're still in the group stage. We still have a few matches left. The points from yesterday will carry on, and depending on the result today, we'll know who goes on and moves on into the top 16. Top 16 is going to be intense.
Oh yeah, it's
So
gonna be stacked.
we've had a first to two format or best of 3 format, however you want to call it, for the first day. When we move on to top 16, we got the best of 7.
Mm.
I think that changes the entire playing field.
Yeah, it's a completely different game at that point. All right, yep. So we've got the groups here and the countries in them. Again, we do have 2 pools, Group D and H, that have 5 players in each. But right now, we'll be pulling from
It's from Group A.
Group A. Okay,
Yep,
yep.
so we're going straight from the beginning.
Yep. All right, and remember, guys, there's 2 people from each pool that moves forward. So that'll make the top 16. So there's no winners or losers bracket. It's just basically if you make it out, you make it out, and then you start fighting from there. So let's see how that goes.
We saw Mr. Good from Chinese Taipei in Group A yesterday. Also had a good showing with his
Oh yeah,
geese. Yeah.
definitely.
So definitely some strong players in that pool, and we'll get more good, strong Tekken players obviously on stream now.
We saw a good number of character switches yesterday. Like I don't recall seeing that many in that number of matches in a long time.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously there's some players we don't know who they play. So I want to know what the mentality of switching characters is mid-set, especially in the first to two. Because in a first to two, sometimes you want to maybe use the first game to get some information, and the second game, third game, you'll use that information to try and capitalize on the mistakes your opponent's making or the patterns that they have, and with that, take the set. But some people decide to switch.
Yeah.
Maybe they see something, a pattern, or like something that the opponent is trying to exploit, and they say, you know what, this character is better for dealing with this situation. And I think that sometimes is the case with the character switches.
Yeah, for all I know, we could see maybe 3 character switches potentially in these future sets. That'll be really a strategic thing to see. I'm not sure how many characters some of these people play, but it was good to see character variety.
I also want to point out, I'm pretty sure we're going to see more Ganryu and Leroy today.
Oh yeah,
People have been showing that they like to play those characters. We had both Meat from Indonesia, Dojin from the Philippines pick Ganryu. We had Ni, obviously from Korea, picking Leroy. And there was one more player that picked Leroy. It was, I don't remember who it was. At any
Okay.
rate, the match should be getting started any minute now. Once again, it is Costa Rica versus Poland. So, based on the characters we saw yesterday, if it's Miguel versus Steve, something interesting about the matchup is Miguel in season 2 or season 3, I'm not exactly sure, received a massive buff to his punch parry from Savage
Mm.
Stance. It's a full launcher, it's safe if I'm not mistaken. It has early startup, I think on frame 3 or 4. So that's something Steve has to look out for, especially in situations where Miguel transitions into that Savage Stance. And he does so from many of his moves. Stuff he uses in neutral, like a down forward 1, like a down back 3, a while standing 1. Many, many moves. So with Frizen, if Vicious decides to go with that Miguel, that's something he has to keep in mind. You can't play over aggressively, otherwise you're gonna get yourself punch parried and comboed to death.
Yeah, his damage is crazy, and with buffs like that, it makes it just as you were kind of saying, just very scary to play in that sense. But let's see what they do with that today. Frizen looks pretty relaxed right now. Vicious CLC just getting a bit of help there, getting this underway pretty soon. We've got a lot of matches coming up today that I'm very excited for, not just in the pool stages or the group stages. I'm really looking forward to I believe the top 16, because that's as we mentioned before, that's really going to be where a lot of these players get to kind of let go of a bit of the stress. Like, they're made to pass the first stage. You got to be comfortable, and now you can really show what you've got. Now after that, we have the quarterfinals. That's we got continuing the best of 7 format, but that's going to be pretty intense. We'll see how that one goes, and obviously best of all, grand finals tomorrow, and just top the top bracket tomorrow. So that'd be pretty interesting.
Going back to the matchup at hand, I also wanted to discuss Steve, also one of those characters that has excellent long-range punishment. He's got that Sonic Fang, he's got that forward 1+2, he's
Oh,
got
yeah.
the forward 2. He's always been one of those characters that can consistently punish Miguel's Savage down forward 2, and that's a tool a lot of people like to use as a mix-up in
Yeah.
Savage stance. That's if Vicious picks Miguel like he did yesterday. I mean, he could pick, like we said, he could pick out a character that we haven't seen yet. We've seen so many characters.
Yeah, like, honestly, low-key, I kind of wanted to see Leroy come out for no reason in particular. But we'll see how it goes. So a lot of these players are actually, just due to the way things work, they just have to play, even if they kind of technically knocked out already, they still have to play to complete the brackets. But that also gives people an opportunity to maybe stray from the character they may usually pick. They may go with someone where it's like, well, I'm pretty good with this character. I wasn't really confident with them in the major tournament, but maybe I'll try them now. And for all they know, that could be the point where they find out, okay, I can be successful with this character. So having that kind of circumstance can, help you improve.
Also, something to note is, on day 1, we didn't actually get to see the United States play on stream. And I'm looking at the schedule here, and we do have a match where the USA will be playing. So for you guys at
Ooh.
home supporting from the USA, Anakin will be playing on stream later today. I'm looking forward
That's
to that.
actually the second match.
Yes.
Ooh,
So very,
stick
very
around,
soon.
stick
Yeah.
around.
Anakin obviously coming off on that top 4 finish from TWT finals, playing an amazing Jack these days. He just seems to get better and better and more
Oh, yeah.
consistent as time goes on. I want to see if he can continue with that form into this tournament. I don't know how well he's done so far in the round robin,
Mhm.
but I would assume he's doing really well,
Yeah.
considering he's been playing, out of this world recently.
Yeah, it was just in the TWT, did super well. Like, coming straight, sorry, coming straight from there to here. Like, I would assume he's still feeling hot, So let's see how he goes. He's walking around. He looks pretty confident. Like, he looks pretty happy. So let's hope that translates into a good game.
And I think a lot of people have that idea in mind. A lot of people here are coming straight from the TWT finals, whether they were in the top 20, whether they were doing the LCQ, whether they did well or didn't do well. They're looking at it as a way to either continue playing as well as they did there, or to make up for playing poorly at the event or something. This is like a redemption arc of sorts for them. So I want to see, people at this point, they've known that. So this patch is like, it's still fresh, and there's a lot of things happening, especially with Ganryu and Leroy coming out. So many things are changing. People are changing the way they're playing, the way they're approaching the game. We've seen a lot of different character picks, and I really like the fact that people are just trying to find a way that works to play in the current season, because many players talk about the game changing, and it is. You can't play it the same way you used to play in season one or season two. Many things change, and I think the people that adapt to the way the game is changing are the people that are doing the best in the game.
Yeah.
And I think Anakin's one of the best examples of that. He's changed his style. I don't know what he changed, but he's playing more aggressively. He's doing things differently, and it's just working out for him.
Like there's a shift in the way the game works. Some people have been talking about this where it used to be a very movement-centric, defense-based game. You can get big rewards from being super defensive, but as time went on and the changes that were necessary to help get Tekken out there were made, offense became, I think, the forefront of the gameplay, which is very exciting to watch. You see that when you watch it. It's just basically instead of someone turtling all the time, they're forced to take a more offensive position, take some risks, and make make some big moves. So when watching that, it's just a completely different experience. But on the other hand, the player then has to adapt, as you mentioned. So there's players that were super defensive previously. Now they're struggling because maybe they don't have that in them. It's not naturally their style to be super offensive, but they have no choice. You need to adapt to overcome. And look, players like Nee, one of those all-round players, they can do whatever they need to do. But yeah, we'll get this match underway. So we got Costa Rica, Vicious CRC versus Prison from Poland.
I'm pretty sure Frizen will stick to Steve. I don't see him playing another character. And obviously, me being a Steve player, he's one of my main characters. I do love watching a good Steve.
Prison is definitely one of those. So see how it goes.
So we saw both of these guys play yesterday. If I remember correctly, Vicious had quite an aggressive playstyle.
Yep.
Sometimes it worked out really well. Sometimes it got him killed because he would overcommit and overextend.
Oh, Josie. Okay. Alright.
Yeah, interesting pick.
Not too bad against Steve, I think.
Oh yes, I remember he played Josie for the first game.
Alright.
Now I remember. He was the one doing down 3-4s, and he got a lot of counter hits with them.
Oh, okay.
Against Mr. Good, because he would button after blocking the first low.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Yes, now I remember.
Yep. That was at the Claudio stage, right? Yep.
So this matchup is really interesting because Steve's Rage Art can punish Josie's Crouch Dash 3, and that's something you have to keep in mind when Steve does have Rage. You can't overcommit with that Crouch Dash. We're starting off the match. There's that Crouch Dash 3, and there's that down 3-4 we're talking about. Vicious CRC has shown that he likes to use that move. Drops the down forward 2 combo. You're going to get warmed up for that combo. Nice punish there. Goes to the down back 3-2. Trying to pressure with those stances. Now playing the waiting game. Doesn't want to overcommit. Gets the power crush. One hit away from taking it.
Vicious CRC originally trying to stay out of range. Oh, the trade. He was trying to stay out of range, but just as he came in to take that risk, got caught.
That was a very ambitious jab by Prison, but it worked out for him. Forward 3, going for those plus range and the knockdown mid. Could get him to the wall here. What's the combo? Doesn't get the 60% ender. Prison in rage. Doesn't commit to the 3-1-1 and the low to close it out. Vicious CRC gets on the board, ties it up at 1 round apiece. Starts with the 1-2-1. Trying to pressure him with these strings. Crouch jab to stifle the pressure.
Vicious CRC making a lot of good calls here on some of the evasion, but just not able to get what he needs from it.
Goes for that down forward, trying to mix him up with that switch stance.
Oh, running in and out of range. Very good movement here from Vicious CRC.
Caught him pressing button. I'm still trying to pressure. We see that Vicious CRC has shown that he likes to do the crouch jab to stop Steve's pressure. And that's something a lot of people use against Steve. And I think Prison has to pick up on that and when he likes to do that crouch jab. And there's that down 2 to take the 3rd round for Prison. Up 2 rounds right now. Trying to pressure him once again. I feel like, both players are just taking their turns to pressure at one another. And Prison gets that big counter hit with the back 1. Sonic Fang ender.
Couldn't get the second Sonic Fang there. Still decent damage on that combo. Alright, see, you notice Prison just sidewalked a little bit to put Vicious back at the wall. But now there are sides that are at the wall. Let's see if we can get this wall break real quick. Back sway into the heavy low.
Oh, he misses the follow.
Ah, there you go. Prison cops out. Prison gets that one.
Prison takes the first game. So the interesting thing about that is I feel like most of the damage that Vicious got was from lows, like crouch dash 3, full crouch down forward 4, down 3, 4.
Yep.
And obviously when Prison was attacking when he shouldn't be on strings, so like 3-3, I think hit him twice. The second hit, he got hit with successive hits of strings. So I think he should slow it down and focus on pressuring, but doing safe pressure and focusing on trying to pick up on the crouch dash time. Vicious CRC. Gets that back 2, should get him to the wall here. He's up 2. Doesn't finish the combo. He had a Gatling gun there. 1-1 for the wall pressure.
Ooh, again, very good call on the evasion, but just cannot get what he needs from it. Gets blocked every time.
Nice, right? Well, he's into the wall bounce. Goes for the combo and the down 2 to close it out. Very well done by
Good
Prison.
momentum from Prison right now.
It's 3 rounds straight for him right now. Goes for that down forward to the homie move to keep him locked down. Doesn't want him moving around. Trying to push him to the wall with that pressure. Vicious working his way out.
These low jabs are doing a lot of work. Oh, gets the evasion that time. Nice launch.
Yeah, cashes in on the mid. Fine.
Oh!
Well, I don't know about that.
Nobody call Harada. Let's go.
He went for the full string that time. I think that's the first time he's completed the 1-2-1-2. And as I was saying,
refuses to duck on those.
most of the damage he's getting is from these big lows, and it just shows there. Gets that round once again, puts himself on the board in this second game.
Oh, and cashes in. Very nice.
Alright, see, these mix-ups are really working. He's not even doing switch stance mix-up. It's the crouch dash mix-up that's really working.
Even a basic. Ooh, rocket punch hits while getting up. This is a very bad position to be in. Let's see if we can get out of there. Nice.
It's the literal corner, but he works his way out. 1 frame too late on that punish. The move's minus 13.
Oh, is he going to go for it again? Do it, man. Do it.
Oh,
Oh, goes for the mid.
Alright. The crouch jab doing work.
These low jabs are doing a lot of
Down
work.
forward 4, one of Josie's best round-ending moves. A very long-range mid. There's that 3-3. You need to be ducking that. That's only -1 on block. There's that crouch jab. Comes out once again. You need to be ducking that 1-2-4.
I feel like we're going to see a low parry from Prison soon for one of those low punches.
Yeah, well, that's what he has to pick up on. There's that 2 throw, no break by Vicious. Decides down the ground. Good choice for him. Doesn't get hit with the Oki.
Nice break.
He does break it, but it puts Prison at the wall. Regardless, he works his way out. Can he break the wall here?
Weird action.
Count 2. That's 3 rounds taken by down 2. I don't think I don't think Vicious has picked up on Prison's lows to close out rounds yet, or at least he's not trying to block them. Maybe the timing's a bit weird. Last time he blocked that switch stance 2, he did down forward 2. This time he did nothing. He wanted to check, which I really like. This time he goes for the crouch
These
dash
lows
3.
are doing so much damage right now. Half his health is gone. No break.
He's gonna stay down again. He should be doing the down back 2 if he expects to stay down.
Oh, the second time we've seen that this tournament. Double pressing a button on the last hit.
Rage Art. Will this hit? And no, it won't. Prison takes it over Vicious. CRC 2-0.
Damn.
Poland over Costa Rica.
Wow. All right. Well, that was pretty good. Honestly, I think Costa Rica was doing pretty well. Vicious CRC basically had a decent idea what was happening. Had character experience, I could tell, but just couldn't get the reads that he needed. But he was doing a lot of low pressure that was really getting him basically 80% of his damage, but just couldn't close it out. He couldn't adapt to cash in on all those situations he was building up. But well played by both.
I think if you look at it based on what happened in the match and how Frizen won most rounds, he didn't really counter hit Vicious that much, which means Vicious was probably scared of get back 1, down forward 2, so he was trying to play around them. And when he had the chance, when he felt like no button was coming out, he went for those lows and the mix-ups and whatnot. I think because he might have been playing around the counter hits too much, he limited his options in neutral, and I don't think that's always a good choice. Most people, when they verse Steve, they think, you know, back 1 is like the be-all, end-all, so they'll play around it until the end of days. They'll like do high crushes to no avail. and then they're just there standing. They're like, I've limited myself to like 3 or 4 moves. So what do I do when I need to do something that doesn't high crush?
You've locked yourself
Yeah,
down.
yeah. You have to understand. Yes, it's a very strong move, but it's 13 frames. It's a high. It doesn't have the best range, but it has a good hitbox. So if you attack, it has an extended a hitbox where it'll reach further. But if you're moving around, it'll likely whiff. And the change in Season 3 made it recover 2 frames slower on whiff. So if you expect a back one, read the timing, dash in, duck, dash in, sidestep left, sidewalk left, or stay out of that range to deal with it. If you read down forward 2, you're just going to get hit by like 15, 16 damage if you're walking. If you sidestep block, or if you stay out of range of both options, it becomes very difficult for Steve to open you up in neutral, and he has to overcommit to lows like down back 3-2, because the full crouch down forward 1, yes, it starts a lot of his mix-ups, but you can just hold back and keep backdashing to get out of it. Most characters cannot backdash out of consecutive lows from that stance, but what you can do is just force them to keep doing the lows, and then they'll eventually try and do a mid. But at any rate, very well done there by Frism. Takes it over Vicious CRC.
Are we gonna go to a break for this one?
And yes, we will be back very soon with a match that everyone's been waiting for. We'll have USA versus Namibia coming up after this short break. Stay tuned.